Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We have broken this episode up into two segments again to make it a little bit shorter and easier to listen to.
Yep.
So we really appreciate you guys listening in.
Big thanks to one of our sponsors, Hands Pickleball. Make sure you go check out their website and follow their social media. We have some really awesome drops coming up soon with them, so stay tuned for those.
Yeah, and thanks to 002, they got a couple of tournaments coming up. They have Horseshoe Bay May 17th through 19th, and then just saw an indoor Pickle Land inaugural tournament. So I think that's at the end of July. Be sure and check their tournaments out on pickleballbrackets.com. Just type in the keyword 002 and search it. They'll populate anything they have coming up. And then be sure and use the discount code DEAL when registering. Also for Hands Pickleball, DEAL 10 to get your discount on any merchandise, any gear that you find through Hands. So thanks a lot. Enjoy the episode.
Okay, so topic 2 for today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're back into our amateur life, right? We're talking about amateurs, and what we said we'd talk about today is, and y'all are going to have to kick this off because you came up with this idea, right? So it's the junior amateur versus the adult amateur.
Yeah.
Go.
Like playing against each other, or what? Or
Y'all-
just-
Yeah. So yeah, I came up with this
Okay.
topic because it's a little specific, but I'll go ahead and say it. I mean, I won't say it yet, but I'm just saying, like, what is the average kid, teen, anyone under the age of 18 who is starting to play pickleball, and how they are so different from the veteran players.
The adult players.
But also like veteran, I'm not like a 20-year-old is obviously very different than a 15, 16-year-old. But that's, I mean, as long as you are an adult and you have been playing for not a long time, but like longer than, a child. So what I think is very different is now we have, like, us, my age, people have become very, and you said something about this, we think that being the best players is also about, like, having the best paddles and having the best coaches and having the best wardrobe and, stuff like that.
How you look matters.
Yes, how you look. And that goes to the paddle, the shoes, the coach, the everything appearance-wise. And you were like, in my day, they would give us a wooden bat and tell us to swing.
that was not my day. We had aluminum bats.
Oh man.
Well,
You have to
but-
graduate to a wooden bat, man. Like
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you said in my day, it wasn't about it. It was about how hard we worked.
Yeah. So I think that it depends on the age of the junior, but I think that a junior that has been playing competitive sports, right, like from the time they were 4 or 5 years old, and really wanted to continue to play that sport and got into playing competitively with maybe with another association, but through the school, like if you're playing a sport long enough and competitive enough, you know how to like work your butt off. Like you know how to work your butt off in practice, on the field, like while you're playing. So I think that like when I started playing pickleball, the one thing that I did have, obviously, I had the footwork from baseball and stuff, but one thing that I think a lot of people my age have is just the ability to work their tail off to get better and to try to achieve their goals, where I think maybe the younger generation hasn't had that experience yet, or maybe doesn't know that that's what it's going to take to get better or to reach their goals is all else fails, man, like I'm just going to work my tail off and try to learn something and outwork the person in front of me, or, outwork that person at work to get this job that's coming up, or whatever it is, or to make my company better. Like I'm going to go above and beyond to make sure the customer's happy, or to make sure this is going out on time. I don't know that, the 14, 15, 16-year-olds like understand that yet. I think that's one of the biggest differences, that I see and that I notice. So in pickleball terms, like when I'm playing with a junior or against a junior or whoever it may be, like I don't care about your ability. What I do care about is your willingness to work your butt off, right? And I don't know that you understand that, right? Like I think.
Wait, but like, are you saying that actually, or are you saying that in my age people? Or are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm saying that. I'm kind of saying that to you specifically,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think that in order to reach your goals, whatever, and I'm not talking to you specifically, for somebody to reach their goals, those goals hopefully are great goals. Hopefully they're high.
Yeah.
And it's never gonna be like, well, if I look this way, I'm gonna reach my goals. If I can hit the ball this way, it's gonna go over and it's gonna be a winner.
Yeah.
No, like it's man, those shots that you see on TV or those people you see on YouTube or whatever it may be, like there's a lot of thought, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of skill that goes into that. It's not just looking a certain way,
But when I say looking a certain way, something I didn't bring up is like something when new younger players are trying to pick up pickleball. Let's see, obviously pickleball specifically. Now that we have a lot of social media, and this is also how it's different with y'all because y'all did not grow up with social media.
Right.
Okay. I'm just making sure I'm not offending anyone. But you see a lot of people on social media, and that's obviously what you want to look like. So instead of learning how to hit just a ball over the net, you have to learn how to hit, this is how you hit a rolling top spin dink, or, cross court. This is how you hit a behind the back shot. This is how you hit a two-handed flying backhand. And I feel like that's what, like, people think, like, that's what makes me good, is if I can hit these fancy shots, when actually, no, it's being able to just hit consistently and not necessarily having the perfect shots.
Yep.
I don't get how that related.
So
I got lost because you said, I thought I knew where you were going, and then it did not. I don't think you landed the plane. Because you talked about growing up with social media and how you look matters.
Yeah.
But then you went to,
I think
then
And
it
I'm saying
became
that's-
very specific shots.
Like, and what I mean is, like, y'all didn't, and y'all did grow up learning that, like, or at least I'm really talking to you. Because I know you say this, so I know that you can agree with me when it is about, like, just working your butt off and starting from the bottom, and now you're here. And I feel like,
She was at the top for people who can't see.
oh yeah,
She started from the bottom.
and I feel like people now want to start like literally like from the bottom to the top. There's no in between. And I feel like that's what people nowadays don't understand.
Yeah.
Is that you have to learn everything in between.
Yep. Yeah, I think social media, I think what you were talking about is you see these people on social media, and that's what you automatically think maybe you are, or you can get to that very quick or right off the bat.
Yes, and can I do a plug for myself real fast?
Sure.
Sorry. But I am starting a YouTube channel soon. And something that I do want my subscribers and followers to see, and it's also something that we do, is that the amateur life is very important. And I hate that people kind of look over it and only, watch the best of the best.
Yeah.
And I want to do gym content, and I don't like that people are only looking at the best bodybuilders instead of looking at smaller people who are also learning, because it is so impossible to one day wake up and say I want to go to the gym and then go try and squat 3,000 pounds, because that's not how that works.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna get better by playing. What is the quote? You need to play 30% who like less, and then you're same, and then
Yeah, you play 30%. Your opponents, you want 30% that are better than you, 30% that are on the same level, and 30% that are maybe not quite.
but then what's the other 10%?
Let's call it 33% for each. 33.3.
But that's what I'm trying to get. Like,
Yeah.
you have to. Okay, I feel like you're lost.
No,
And it's
I'm not lost.
You get it now.
No, I think that it didn't. I think I know what you were saying. I just don't think that it was, like I said, the plane wasn't landed. That there's this other part or influence from social media that you guys are experiencing that we did not when we were little. We really were bred in learn the fundamentals, work very hard in the fundamentals. And sometimes you didn't know what the attainment point was. You just knew, I really love this and I want to keep going. I see, people on TV doing it, but I wasn't seeing the journey. And I think what maybe wasn't said is that there's not enough content out there showing the journey. It's showing the end result or the very beginning of somebody starting, but the midpoint is kind of missing. But I kind of have a little bit of not a different opinion, but I think I'm going to state it a little differently.
Okay, go ahead.
So I feel like younger generations than me, and I'm going to say this, like, I don't think this is just amateur juniors. I think it's just getting even bigger as you get younger, is that there's this belief that you automatically have a seat at the table because you exist. Like, and I see this in business. I see this in personal life, and I see this in sports, that because you're there and present, you think that you deserve a seat at the table. And I was raised very differently of, no, you never have a seat at the table until you earn it.
Yeah.
You never have somebody's trust, you never have somebody's loyalty, and you had never, ever, ever have somebody's respect until you've earned it.
Yeah.
And you have to keep it, right? But I think that went into, and I just did a thing with my dad the other day and asked, what's the one thing that you wanted me to learn when I was little? And he said, work ethic.
Yeah.
Like, that was what I wanted to teach you, was work hard. And he did a really good job of that, right? I think I'm a very hard worker. But I know that if I put myself into something, I have to work hard at that. And I have to do all the steps in between, like you're saying. To me, it feels like younger generations are like, no, I can skip level everything. If I want to reach out to the CEO of a company, I could do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, wait, I as a 40-year-old director or senior manager still don't feel comfortable with like reaching out to my CEO because I haven't been invited to that table.
Yeah.
So I think that there's not only that, the midpoint missing, but I also think that there's this impression that because I'm here, maybe I look good, maybe I've put some time into it, I should be at the table.
Right.
No, the amount of work that people put in to build platforms, to grow knowledge, to become pros, to even not become pros, just college athletes, the amount of time it takes, you don't just get that because you exist.
Yeah.
And this is where I definitely agree with you, and I agree that a lot of people think that way.
Yeah.
But also, I know pros, and I think y'all know kind of who maybe I'm talking about, who did shove their way into the table, and it just worked out for them. So I think it's possible, but I think it's more of a personality thing, because I think this world is a very shallow place, and I do think that you can do things based on like how you look and how you perform, but some people do not have that idea, and yes, they like you don't have the not confidence, but yes, confidence to shove yourself into the table, and you know.
Yeah, I think there's times when you have to say, I would say female in business, right? Like,
Yes.
there are times when I have to assert myself and say,
yeah.
hey, I actually know what I'm talking about, and I need you to kind of listen at this point, right? But I always see it as this way, is that there's the house that has a strong foundation, and then there's the house that's made of cards, right? And I think that there are people that can give the impression, and I think social media is the king of this. I'm going to give you the impression that my house has got a great foundation.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's a house of cards. And if you look at those people 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, they're not in the same place that they were 5 years ago. That is a fleeting moment. And if you're setting anything on appearance, and yes, will it help you to a certain point? Yes, but will it probably change? Probably. And if you did not build the foundation and skills to be successful long term, you're going to be in a mess. You're going to be dependent on somebody you shouldn't, or dependent on a system you shouldn't, or unable to survive by yourself, right? So I think that you can't forget about the foundational things. And that's what concerns me, is just sports and anything, that we think that momentary success equals long-term success. That is not true. Yeah. How you build the foundation in sports and business, any of it, how you build that foundation out is what equals what's going to happen in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we go back to pickleball and juniors and junior amateurs and junior or an amateur, adults, I think one thing that that I know some knowledge that I have that others may not, or maybe some of the younger generation is overlooking. And Nick Saban, coach for the I heard him at like a halftime interview or before game interview, and one thing he said that has stuck with me ever since is like, do the simple things well. And that's like in pickleball, that's like I would say it's serving, it's returning, it's dinking, and it's dropping.
Yep.
You have to learn to do those things well before that forehand roll, before that, before the flick, before the drive, before the shake and bake. Like you have to learn to do the simple things well. And when I say do the simple things well, I'm not talking about like learn how to hit a good one. I'm talking about learn how to hit a good one 90% of the time, 95% of the time. And all that other stuff is going to take a lot of practice, and they're not very high percentage shots. So the more consistent you can be with the simple things, the better chance you have at, earning that seat to the table, because you're consistent in what you do and you're good at what you do.
Yep.
Most people are going to have to fight hard for that seat at the table. I mean, they just are. I think there's some people who are very naturally gifted. I'll use an example of somebody who listens to us a lot and is a very good friend of yours. I think that David's one of the most gifted, talented athletes I've seen in a long time. I think whatever he decides to do physically, he's very, very good at it. Yeah. Because the defining difference is not that you're, you may have all the natural talent in the world, but still there's a ceiling on how you apply yourself. If you apply yourself, you could become one of the greats.
Right.
If you don't apply yourself, that natural ability is going to get you so far.
Yep.
But it's not going to make you one of the greats.
Yep. And
like, he's a very, very gifted natural athlete. And I sat down with you the other day and said, man, dude, if he just picked one thing, like I'm sure he's good at basketball, and I'm sure he's good at, if he took up volleyball, I'm sure he would be great. But it's just, what's the one thing in his life that's going to come for David? And it may not be athletics. It may be something academically, whatever it is. Yeah. That kid, I think if he finds that thing, he's going to be very, very good.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good.
I agree. Yeah, so like if I like think back of, even younger than Vivi, but like, when I'm 10 or 12 years old, I'll be honest, like I looked at pro baseball players and said, man, like the way he wears his shirt, or, the batting gloves they wore.
Yeah.
Like perfect example, like Ricky Henderson is he played for the A's, or he played for several teams, but he was a, leadoff batter, very fast, very consistent, good outfielder. Stole, has a record for stolen bases. It'll never be broken. And that was like one of my favorite players. But I'm not Ricky. Like, I'm not fast. Like, there's no way I'm like, stealing bases is not my thing. But, what my dad would say is like, well, how can he steal so many bases? And I'm like, well, I don't know. He has to get on base, right? Like, so, being a consistent hitter or, watching the ball, like getting a lot of walks, like those are the simple things, all right? Those are the simple things in baseball that make him, steal those bases or become one of the greatest goes back to like the simple things. Like you have to be on base in order to steal base.
Yeah.
So how do you get on base,
Yeah, but I do think that that's lost
Yeah.
at the moment. But I do think that eventually life gets you. Like, I hate to say it that way, but life comes and you get served reality of like, dang. I mean, I told my dad this the other day. I remember him teaching me about work ethic, and I remember him telling me never become dependent on a man. Like, don't do that. As a female,
Yeah.
work hard, set yourself up where whoever you decide to be with is a partnership. You're not dependent on them. And he would give me examples of females in our lives that were very dependent on somebody else. And I never knew what he was doing because I didn't know at that time that I was going to be a single mom of 2 kids and had, like it's a lot to carry. Life deals you
Yeah.
things. And if you did not prepare yourself for what may come, life has a way of dealing you hands that maybe you didn't set yourself up
Right.
for. So just go ahead and set yourself up for them.
Yeah.
Do it. Like, know who you are, know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
I tell that to my oldest all the time is, man, if you don't know what you're capable of, what good are you to anybody else?
Yeah.
You're a dependent. And that's not what people need.
Right.
And people are less likely to want a dependent at this point. They want somebody who's independent and strong on their own.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Any other
Blunt
thoughts on
ending.
that? We are at 51 minutes on this one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
long-winded.
It was
conversation.
long-winded, yeah. But it's good. Little different content. So anything else before we close?
I actually don't have a lot of thoughts this time, like last time. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Please share your opinions. We did start this off with what sport best transfers. So tell us what you think.
That seems like a long time ago.
It does seem like a long time ago.
Yeah.
But do you follow us, like, share, comment, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We're on them all.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
find us on there, okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.